So good evening, everyone. My name is Olsun and I'm joining from Boston. Because of my Sufi and Buddhist backgrounds, I have been learning to discover myself and self-coaching. That's why I would love to talk about the relationship between personal boundaries and self-coaching. So we are all familiar to the personal boundaries, but let's remember what it is. Personal boundaries are the limits and rules we set for ourselves within our relationships, even when people have a hard time accepting them. So our boundaries are matter, and we have two types of boundaries. The first one is internal and second one is external boundaries. We mostly know and talk about our external boundaries, and we tell that a person with healthy boundaries can say no to others. With internal boundaries, how about ourselves? Can we say easily no to ourselves? How about internal boundaries? They pertain to our mental and emotional worlds. These limits regulate how we think and feel. It helps us to view feedbacks as data, believe our abilities to grow, experience emotions, reach personal experience. Broadly speaking, a boundary defines a limit. Personal boundaries outline our desires, needs, and preferences, serving as invisible but symbolic fences to improve our self-trust. Then it nurtures self-trust and our identity. Actually, internal boundaries protect ourselves from ourselves. So protect from our preferences, our own biases, our desires, cognitive biases, our limiting beliefs and fears. Because the worst enemy we can meet will always be ourselves. It is kind of self-discovery, being familiar to ourselves and facing with our inner personality. I love the quote of Chinese philosopher Lao, knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. Do we prefer to learn more about others or ourselves? Setting boundaries is knowing who we are, what is important to us, our preferences, which option is better for our life. Are we familiar to our biases? Are we caring too much? Do we know how to keep balances in the life? And coaching is all about supporting and challenging a client, being a mirror to the client. It is like being on a seesaw. But are we only playing the game with our clients? How about ourselves? And especially with ourselves too. How much do we look at the mirror to see ourselves? Rumi is one of the inspirational scholar for me, and he says that life is a balance between holding on and letting go. Because life is different than coaching. That's why we need self-coaching to remind this to us instead of racing with the life all the time. Isn't it so selfish? However, if we do not give the value to ourselves, no one is going to give. Before we starting the self-coaching, we create boundaries to protect our energy. Then listen to this energy. Finally, surround yourself with the people who match your inner intentions. We said that it is all about knowing who we are. And Rumi continues to inspire us. Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Change starts within us. Self-coaching starts with strengthening our internal boundaries. So let's talk about the very simple self-coaching model. We'll learn 5 things. First thing they teach us, there are things in the world you cannot control and that you need to accept them. There are circumstances in the world that we cannot control, such as family, environment, etc. The second thing that they teach us is that our attitude matters. What we think matters. And we should think positively. Just mind our mind. Be mindful. Doesn't get hooked by negativity. Think positive thoughts. Be happy and happy. Third, we have to feel our feelings. We have to find out what our feelings are, and we have to feel them now. This is important because if we don't feel our feelings, we end up drinking a lot, eating a lot, overworking, over Facebooking, because we are trying to avoid feeling any kind of emotion. The fourth thing that they teach us is that we have to take action. Stop procrastinating. Go take action in the world. When you are feeling angry, what you might do? When you are feeling caring, what you might do? The last thing they teach us is that we should set big goals for our life. We should create big results in our life, possible goals in our life. Finally, our lives are getting better and better and better. So it is very easy with these 5 steps. The only thing we cannot control in this model is circumstances, and all of them trigger each other. So thoughts trigger feelings, feelings, emotions drives our actions, actions trigger results. It is kind of coaching loop for ourselves. At the end, no one knows us better than ourselves. All the time, what we seek is seeking ourselves. When we found ourselves, we can change everything in our life and we'll be free. Finally, I just want to close my presentation with the quote, which is my favorite. Every man and woman is born into the world to do something unique and distinctive. If he or she doesn't do it, it will never be done. So let's do it together. And first, be a coach to ourselves and others. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Olsen. Beautiful talk.